Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1561. He's only quiet when he's asleep. Did he cry out in pain? Gale said. Shawn shook his head. No, he slept even more peacefully than you. While she occasionally turned and scratched her head, Joshua remained completely still. Shawn felt at peace and really productive with everyone he loved sleeping peacefully. He probably would be distracted if he were at the office alone. He's injured and can't move much. Of course, he's quiet. He is finally sleeping without waking from nightmares, Gale replied. Are you staying up again tonight? How about I take over, and you can go home to be with Nicole? He asked in a low voice. No, you might be careless and absent-minded. Better not. I'd feel better taking care of him myself. Gale refused. Nicole also needs you. I'll take some time off this afternoon to pick her up from school. I'll also tell her that Joshua is injured, so I won't have time to accompany her for now. You plan to tell Nicole? Shawn inquired. Let's just say he got himself injured while playing around. We definitely can't mention the whole situation to Nicole. She suspected that even Joshua wanted to keep it from Nicole. On the surface, he acted like he wanted to compete for attention with Nicole, but in reality, he cared deeply for his younger sister. All right, I'll follow your lead. Shawn nodded. Gale smiled. If you have any other opinions, feel free to share. No opinions, I will follow your lead. Is that so? Shawn, who is in charge of our family? She asked softly, moving closer to him. You are. Sure about that? You're someone who doesn't go back on your word. Shawn was always in charge, so that was surprising. Sure, Shawn nodded. I unconditionally follow your orders. Stop it. You're the head of the family. I'm the figurative head, you're the actual head, he said, lifting her onto his lap. You hold the power, I'm just here to serve you. After all, Gale now held more shares of Wood Group than Shawn. Gale leaned on his chest, smiling. Are you just trying to flatter me? I am telling the truth. I am a very democratic person. Let's make a deal. I'll decide on the small matters, and you have the final say in significant matters. Gale pretended to be serious. Shawn immediately agreed. Okay. You're being too easygoing. You just said for small matters you decide, so this is a small matter, and you've decided. Who would not like feeling loved and spoiled like this? It seemed like she could act recklessly and he would still pamper and indulge her. Hey, in our family, 99% of things are small matters. Only 1% are significant matters. Are you sure you didn't get the short end of the deal? Shawn understood and said, For our family, it's all up to you to decide whether something is significant or insignificant. If you say it's small, then it's small. If you say it's significant, then it's significant. Chapter 1562. Gale looked into his eyes with a joyful smile. Shawn inquired, Are you still satisfied with my answer? Gale nodded. You're getting better and better with significant improvement. Thanks for your approval. I'll keep working hard and strive for more. She wrapped her arms around his neck and felt overwhelmingly happy. With so much happening lately, Gale felt it had been a while since she had such sweet moments with Shawn. Am I disturbing your work? The computer screen has gone black, Gale asked. When you were sleeping, I had already handled most of the important matters. The rest can wait, Shawn replied. He added, Now, the most important thing is you. You are getting sweeter. Want a taste? She quickly avoided him as he leaned in. No, you better focus on your work first. Shawn's hand clasped her waist, preventing her from leaving. This morning you were so eager to kiss me and wouldn't let go. Now you're rejecting me? Gale confidently responded. It was different. What's the difference? There is. I wanted to take the initiative then. Now I don't. She pushed his chest. With so much going on, why aren't you at the office? Working in the hospital isn't convenient. There's no place to put your documents. Even if I'm physically at the office, my mind is here. I won't be productive. Are you planning to work here? Fiona would be in tears. Running back and forth between the company and the hospital would only increase her workload. Moreover, she could not complain. Are you worried I won't work and won't have enough money to raise my children? Gale nodded. Yes, taking care of a wife and children is expensive. I've given birth to two money-eating creatures, and you have to support three of us. He held her hand, kissing it. Gale, with your current wealth, it should be you supporting me. She widened her eyes in disbelief. Me? Support you? How could Shawn say such a thing? Yes. What? You don't want to support me? He stated candidly. Do you want to freeload off me? The esteemed President Wood was openly talking about his wife supporting him. Was he the kind of man who mooshed off his wife? Shawn looked at her. If there's a free ride, why not take it? She was speechless. Who can support you? Gale pointed to his shirt cuff. Just the button of your shirt costs thousands. You need to work harder. Gale pushed his chest. All right, I won't joke with you anymore. Let me go. Shawn actually complied. She got her freedom. She lazily got off him, leaning on the sofa and picking up her phone. As she opened it, Gale saw the message from Aram about Natalie's funeral. She paused on the screen for several seconds. She knew Natalie was already dead. Chapter 1563. She would never see Natalie again, and she would not pose any threat to her. However, Gale still felt shame and pity. She sighed incessantly. Natalie could have had a much better life compared to an ordinary person, but she chose to walk the path of no return. Gale, what's wrong? Shawn noticed the subtle change in her expression. I'll go to the cemetery tomorrow morning. For Natalie's funeral? Gale nodded. Yes. I'll go with you. Pausing, Shawn added, I happened to see that message. It wasn't intentional. He really happened to glance at it. Gale chuckled. Justifying so quickly? Worried I'd blame you for peeking at my phone? A bit. He admitted it so openly, leaving Gale momentarily stunned. That was not Shawn's usual style. He would typically deny doing such a thing. Gale reached out, placing her palm on his forehead. No fever. Your temperature is normal. What's going on? This version of Shawn was unfamiliar and unsettling. Shawn pulled her hand away. Gale, I'm perfectly normal. You're not like your usual self. You'll get used to it gradually. This side of me is only for you, Shawn said. They locked eyes, each seeing the reflection in the other's eyes. The atmosphere gradually heated up as they drew closer to each other. At that moment, Joshua interrupted them. Should I be watching or closing my eyes? The previous steamy moment was instantly shattered. Gale immediately turned her head, her face already flushed. Oh, I shouldn't have spoken and disturbed you. I'm sorry. Actually, I should close my eyes, but I know I can't resist peeking. Well, I can turn my head. Besides, I don't know how long you guys will kiss, and I'm hungry, Joshua said. Sorry, you'll have plenty of opportunities to kiss next time. Gale could not take Joshua's teasing. She quickly stood up and said, I'll check if the staff has delivered food. Shawn sat on the sofa, legs crossed, looking at Joshua. Are you doing this on purpose? He was a mere second away from a kiss. Joshua kept quiet till that very moment, and it drove Shawn crazy. Yes, I did it on purpose. What about it? Joshua replied. She's my wife. Kissing my wife is perfectly reasonable. This is my hospital room. I can do whatever I want. Besides, I'm a child. What should I do if I accidentally peek and see something I'm not supposed to? Joshua was not afraid of Shawn. Why would you peek? Joshua confidently replied, Because I can't help it. Shawn's face darkened. Joshua, do you really think that now that you have your great-grandfather, I can do anything to you? He asked. Chapter 1564. The kid had closed the line. He could not let him cross his boundaries all the time. I didn't think so. It's not yet time for my great-grandpa to step in. You'd need to go through a few people first, Joshua said. Joshua began to boast. Firstly, you have to go through my mom. If you can get past her, then only Grandpa comes into the picture. When Grandpa can't help, I still have Grandma. Well, the probability that both grandparents won't help me is very, very low. In case both grandparents side with you, I'll turn to my great-grandpa for support. Joshua had many supporters. Oh, by the way, Shawn, I haven't called you Daddy yet. If you want to hear that, you better behave well until I'm satisfied, Joshua added. Shawn pursed his lips. He didn't want Joshua to call him Daddy anymore because of his attitude. Joshua was so much more mischievous than the adorable, well-behaved Nicole. Why was there such a stark contrast in their personalities? Shawn thought that his interaction with Joshua would be different. At least, there would be peaceful coexistence. It seemed like he hoped for too much. He and Joshua could not possibly get along like a normal father and son. Joshua. Shawn spoke up. Yes? How do you manage to be so smart and likable while also making people want to kick you? Joshua replied, You should ask yourself. Ask me. Shawn looked puzzled. Yeah, I'm your son. I inherited your genes. I am what you are. Joshua confidently replied. Shawn was speechless. He pressed his temple, feeling a headache coming on. Why did Gale not give birth to two daughters? What was the use of having such an annoying son? Gale returned to the ward. It was quiet. Joshua was staring at the ivy drip, and Shawn was busy working on his laptop. You two have nothing to say to each other? Gale asked. Shawn did not lift his head. What can he be busy with? I'm watching the ivy drip. What if it's empty? I can only rely on myself. Who said I'm not watching it? Joshua replied. You're looking at the computer, Shawn asked. Do you need to watch the ivy drip all the time? He would occasionally glance up. When it was almost empty, he would ring the bell to call the nurse. If you don't care about me, fine. You don't need to justify it, Joshua sighed. Forget it. Rather than relying on my parents, I will just rely on myself. Gale playfully knocked him on the head. Stop the nonsense. Eat. Feed me. Daddy will feed you. I don't want that. The morning was awkward enough. Who would have thought he would endure another round of torture at lunch? Chapter 1565. He was a patient. Should everyone not bend to his will? You guys should spend some time bonding, Gale said. Big beauty. What's up? You've changed. Joshua looked pitiful and aggrieved. Now that you have a husband, you've forgotten your son. You only care about Shawn's feelings, not at all about mine. The corner of Gale's mouth twitched. If I had known, I should have stayed in the small town and lived with Mrs. Zoe. What's the point of being the young master of the Wood family, the heir of a conglomerate? Whoever wants to take my place can. Enough. Stop acting. It's useless. There is only your dad and me here. Who are you putting on a show for? Gale interrupted him. She saw through his act. However, Joshua did not mind. I need practice so my acting skills don't become rusty. Gale almost spat blood. Joshua, oh Joshua. What's wrong? Who do you take after? Why are you asking the same question as Shawn? I am your son, so naturally I'm following you too. Will I mutate into something else? Joshua said. Gale shook her head. I am not so dramatic. Then it's Shawn. He is the master of all drama. After thinking for a moment, Gale agreed. Right. Now I understand. Indeed, you two have good acting skills. Shawn's acting skills were indeed top-notch. However, Shawn did not agree. When did I become such a drama king? When you were with Winnie. That was inevitable. Anyway, both of you are great at acting. Gale took a look at the clock. It was almost time to pick up Nicole from kindergarten. I'll leave first. She picked up the car keys. You too? She looked at Joshua and then at Shawn. Take care of yourselves. After saying that, Gale left the ward. Hey, darling, Mom, Mommy, sweetie, sweetheart, where are you going? Come back. How can you ignore me? Come back. Where are you going? Joshua kept shouting. His voice echoed in the ward. Unfortunately, there was no response. Shawn flipped through the documents. Stop yelling. How can she bear to leave me alone with you? Cold, heartless, and selfish person. Sorry, you still have to stay with me for many, many years because I am your dad. Shawn smirked slightly. Joshua mumbled, If I had known, I would have tried to match Uncle Arum. What are you talking about? Nothing. He knew better. He knew he could only say such things in front of Gale, but never in front of Shawn. Otherwise, he would be asking for a beating. Joshua still understood very well where Shawn's bottom line was, what he could tolerate and what he could not. Uncle Arum was Shawn's love rival. Gale is picking Nicole up from school later. What do you plan to tell her when she sees you injured? Chapter 1566. Suddenly, Joshua looked upset. I don't look cool or handsome at all. Although the father and son quarreled a lot, Shawn would not hesitate when compliments were due. When you stepped forward to save Gale, that was very cool of you. Of course. A man should protect the one he loves the most. Joshua suddenly became proud again. A faint, almost imperceptible smile curved Shawn's lips and disappeared as quickly as it appeared. Despite being mischievous and playful, Joshua was still just a kid. I discussed it with Gale. We decided to tell Nicole that you accidentally fell and got injured. Are you okay with that? Shawn asked. He better be okay with it. Joshua pondered and said, Can we say someone else caused me to fall, not that I fell on my own? It sounds smarter. Okay, sure. Okay. Joshua expressed satisfaction at last. He began anticipating his little sister's arrival. It was boring. He did not know what to do, and watching TV would disturb Shawn's work. However, not watching TV would leave him just counting sheep and staring at the ceiling. Previously, when Gale went out, Joshua could take it since it was for a few moments. This time, she would be gone for a while. He just ate, and now he needed the bathroom. Joshua kept glancing toward Shawn. Finally, Shawn spoke. Am I dazzling you? Joshua was stunned. His own flatulence and narcissism seemed hereditary. You are indeed handsome, but compared to me, you are still a bit lacking. Shawn, I need to talk to you about something, Shawn said. Speak. I need to pee. Shawn's hand paused on the keyboard. What did he just hear? I need to pee. I can't hold it much longer. I might wet the bed, Joshua said again. Shawn was at a loss. He had never taken a kid to the bathroom. Hurry up. I can't really hold it, Joshua urged. Shawn hesitated for a few seconds before closing the folder and standing up. Carry me to the bathroom. I'll call the nurse, Shawn said, reaching for the call button. Wait, no. Joshua hurriedly stopped him. Why? The nurse is a girl, and I'm a boy. I'm embarrassed. Joshua's face reddened. Surprisingly, even he felt shy. However, if he did not let the nurse help, then Shawn would have to do it himself. Hurry up! I'm about to pee, Joshua urged again. Shawn went out to the bedside, careful to avoid his wounds, and lifted him up. Shawn took him to the bathroom, and they stared at each other. What are you looking at me for? Help me take off my pants. Shawn complied. Joshua really needed the toilet. As soon as his pants were off, he started to pee immediately. Some pee almost splashed on Shawn's hands. Shawn's eyes twitched. Shawn had obsessive compulsive disorder. He could not stand even a speck of dust, let alone urine. Chapter 1567. He had to endure. Shawn kept reminding himself that he was his son. Much better. I almost held it too long. All right, Shawn, help me put on my pants. Shawn glanced at him. I can't move, or else I wouldn't have asked you. I've been taking care of myself since I was 2, Joshua said. Shawn silently helped him put on his pants. Just as he finished, Joshua suddenly said, Wait a moment. What now? I need to poop. Shawn was speechless. Was this heaven's way of tormenting him? First, he needed to take the kid to pee, and now he needed to help him poop. Seeing Shawn's speechless expression, Joshua innocently looked at him. What's wrong? It's normal. It means my digestion is working. Shawn continued to remind himself he was his son. He needed to be patient. After coming out of the bathroom, Shawn, who had not smoked in a while, went to the smoking room and smoked 2 cigarettes to calm down. Heaven must send his son to torment him. However, that was just the beginning. Joshua would say he was thirsty and needed water, and in the next moment, he would say his wounds hurt. Shawn had his hands full. He finally realized that Gale had a tough time all these years. Little one, how do you feel now? Is your body still sticky? Shawn wiped his body with a towel. Much better. He sighed. It's rare to get your approval. Just barely. I can tell you're inexperienced. It's the first time you've done this. But overall, not bad. Keep it up, Joshua said. Thank you. You're welcome. Compared to Mom, you still have much to improve. Keep working on it. Shawn turned to leave. He kept reminding himself of their relationship. Shawn, when you're old, unable to move from a stroke or something, I'll take care of you. Don't feel it is unfair. Joshua watched his retreating figure. Hearing this, Shawn stumbled a bit, almost tripping himself. Stroke? Can't you wish me well? He retorted. I mean, when you're old and lying in bed, unable to move? Joshua added, I'm quite filial, aren't I? Shawn massaged his temples. He suddenly wanted to go back to the company. Fortunately, familiar footsteps rang out. Finally, Gale was back with Nicole. As expected, when the door opened, Nicole ran in. Daddy! Her sweet voice sounded divine to Shawn. It dissolved all discomfort in his heart. Daughters are indeed better. They were like caring little angels. Sons were sneaky devils. Daddy, you're here too. It must be hard to take care of my brother all by yourself, Nicole said. No, it's not hard. Shawn sighed again. The reality was far from it. He wondered why he had a son. Two daughters would have been so much better. Chapter 1568. You seem a bit off. Did something happen during the time I went to pick up Nicole? Gale asked. Nothing. Everything's normal, Shawn replied, calming himself and opening his arms to Nicole. Come on, Daddy's here. He desperately needed his daughter to comfort his fragile heart. Nicole was about to run toward him, and he was ready for that joyful satisfaction of his daughter rushing into his arms. However, Joshua intervened. Nicole, weren't you here to visit me in the hospital? How did you go to Daddy's side first? Don't you care about me anymore? Don't you love me anymore? Nicole abruptly stopped. Then she turned and ran straight to Joshua's bedside. Why would you think that, Joshua? Mommy told me you were injured, and I was so worried. Nicole stood by the bedside, looking at him with concern. It must hurt a lot. Why are you so careless? It's not my fault. Someone else caused my injury. But Mommy said it was because you fell. Joshua denied. It's because of someone else that I fell. She didn't explain it clearly to you. How could I fall? He had such a fragile ego. Gale played along. I didn't explain it clearly. Your big brother is so clever, he couldn't possibly fall. It's all someone else's fault. Joshua lifted his chin and said, Exactly. Falling is such a stupid thing. I'm a light feather. I can't possibly do such a thing. Shawn's eyes darkened, and he withdrew his hand. It seemed that in the future, Joshua would vie for favor at every turn. He wanted to hug Nicole, and Joshua immediately spoke up, calling Nicole over. He was too obvious. Joshua was trying to curry favor with Nicole. Shawn would not let such a thing happen. He must figure out a way to deal with Joshua's arrogant attitude. Joshua, does it hurt? How long will it take for you to recover? Nicole asked with concern. It's a minor injury. I will be fine in a few days. But you're wearing a cast, Joshua replied. I'm young and in good health. I'll recover faster than ordinary people. Nicole pointed again. There's gauze around your neck. It's not bleeding anymore. I'm waiting for the wound to heal. Men are naturally competitive and egotistical in front of women. Joshua was a prime example of this. Okay, Joshua, get well soon. I'll come to see you every day after school. You're so lucky. Daddy and Mommy are here with you. She gently placed her hand on Joshua's shoulder and said very seriously and happily, Joshua, welcome back to our family. Now we are a family of 4. Joshua was stunned. Why are you suddenly saying all this? Joshua pursed his lips, feeling a bit awkward. It's so weird and sentimental. Chapter 1569. I'm sincere. Nicole looked up at Gale and asked, Right, Mommy? Daddy must be thinking the same. Gale nodded and said, Yes, we welcome Joshua back to the family. He's our bravest little man, and this family wouldn't be complete without him. Nicole's words almost brought Joshua to tears. Gil noticed that and thought she had messed up. Joshua's return to the family was significant. He, too, was a child longing for attention, love, and warmth. When he is discharged, We'll have a party at home. You can invite your classmates, friends, anyone you like, Gale said. Nicole was the first to respond. Great! We need to buy a very, very big cake, taller than me. No problem. We also need balloons, fireworks too. Prepare lots and lots of colorful lights, snacks, desserts, fruits, drinks. Gale smiled and pinched her cheek. Nicole, are you using the welcoming party as an excuse to prepare a feast for yourself? No, it's mainly to welcome Joshua. Joshua, in a cool tone, said, Since Nicole wants to have a party, let's have one. I don't really mind. Yeah, you don't like these childish things, right? Joshua, pretending to be mature, responded, Right, Big Beauty understands me. Nicole was already counting on her fingers, assembling a guest list. My task mate, also classmates, teachers. Oh, right, Mommy. I want to invite my godparents. Huh? What's wrong, Mommy? Can't my godparents come? Joshua asked. Godparents? Who? Why didn't you tell me? You'll see them soon. Godmom is super nice. You mean Aunt Summer and Uncle Joe? Nicole vigorously nodded. Yes. Well, if it's them, then I can accept it. Joe wants to help him escape from the hotel. Summer was beautiful and treated him well. Perfect. Gale looked at Shawn and said, Your two children want to see Joe and Summer. Now, let's see how he would handle that. He had already sent these two away to Synopsis. To get them back would not be so simple. She predicted Joe would not want to return. Once he returned to Sea City, it was impossible for Summer ever to agree to go to Synopsis with him again. The work there had just begun. Joshua and Nicole also looked at Shawn. Can my godparents come? Daddy, where are they? Nicole asked. Shawn replied without changing his expression. They're on a business trip very far away and won't be back for a while. Huh? Nicole was a bit disappointed. It's okay. There will be more opportunities in the future. Chapter 1570. But what I want most is for my godparents to attend and celebrate Joshua's return to our home. After pausing for a few seconds, Shawn beckoned. Nicole, come here. Nicole walked over to him. You just mentioned inviting so many people, but you didn't mention me. It seems that Daddy isn't very important to Nicole. As soon as Nicole heard this, she quickly waved her hands. No, Daddy, you're the host, not a guest. You don't need an invitation at all. You'll be there anyway. Seeing that his plan had failed, Shawn immediately switched tactics. Well, you only asked Mommy's opinions just now, and you didn't ask me. With this, Nicole immediately started blaming herself. I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't think of you for a moment. It's okay. You often overlook me, and I'm used to it. No, Daddy, you're busy with work every day, dealing with many things. I thought these small things could be between Mommy and me so as not to disturb you, Nicole hurriedly explained. She earnestly comforted Shawn. Gale massaged her temples. Joshua performed his act this morning, and in the afternoon, Shawn started his performance. Were they competing for Best Actor? Shawn sighed. I understand, Nicole. Daddy won't blame you. Daddy. Go to Joshua now. Spend more time with him. I'll continue working here alone, Shawn said. Daddy, I can also stay with you. I'll be with you for 5 minutes, then with Joshua for 5 minutes. You can take turns. Nicole anxiously grabbed his hand. No need, Nicole. I want to. Finally, Shawn said, Nicole, give Daddy a hug. Daddy is an adult, and Joshua is a little kid. He needs you more than I do." Nicole immediately hugged him tightly. Shawn also lifted her up. They looked snug in their embrace. He intentionally looked toward Joshua. Joshua wanted to play the victim? Well, he could do it too. He had more years of experience than Joshua. Let's see who could outsmart whom and whose tactics were more sophisticated. Joshua sneered disdainfully. "All right, Nicole, go and play. He's lying in bed and can't move. He is very bored. Pay more attention to him." Shawn patted her head. Nicole was very sensible and immediately said, "Okay, I'll also take care of Daddy. Daddy is strong." "No, Daddy also needs love." With that, Nicole tiptoed and kissed Shawn on the cheek. Shawn was very satisfied. Daughters were indeed better, sweet, well-behaved, and affectionate. Sons were just annoying. Gale walked over and sat down next to Shawn. "Mr. Wood, how old are you this year?" "Don't you know my age?" "If I remember correctly, you're over 30, right?"